how did you experience the roles that you influenced? Like, tell me a story like where you went with a motive and you got that.
I went to a Notion event that was hosted in Fabric, the third space I'm part of. And
Let's say you go to a networking event, but how do you make a good first impression?
I think that when you come to a networking event, you have to stay open because you never know who you're going to meet and you never know where the conversation is going to go.
I asked, what is the biggest issue you have?
Most female founders are looking for a community, looking for support.
Let's go on to the next session on founders and uh, community building. How did you experience the roles that you influence, like um, understanding for founders that are in need? Like, how do you find your founders that are in need most?
Yeah, so I think every female founder is, and most female founders are looking for a community, looking for support. What I've seen is with extremely early stage female founders that I'm talking about, female founders that are at the idea standpoint where they're just getting started. They don't feel like they need help. But then when I reconnect with them like a few months later, they're like, okay, actually, I understand why you're building it. And I understand that I want to now connect with female founders that are going through the same journey because being a founder can be very lonely. And the founders I meet, some have founders, some don't. And yeah, I feel like the maturity around needing a support system also evolves around that. Um, and and I think that's something I really praise for. Like you can't go build something on your own. I mean, even if you have the vision, if you are the one with the idea, you will need a support system because it's just you gain so much time by tapping into your network and just asking for people that can help you. So in my own example, when I started to build like from the last time, I didn't know what legal structure to find because I was not familiar with the different legal structures. I don't have a legal background in the US. I've been here just for 2 years, so I was not familiar with the different structure. So instead of like trying to find out on my own or problem calls with like multiple lawyers, I just tapped it in my network. And I met a lawyer that was that became a friend. And so we what during like networking event we talk about like friends for 45 minutes and that's how we connected. And then we stayed in touch, tried to do business together. Didn't necessarily work out with the previous company I was working for, but then we kept in touch. And so when I built my company, I texted him. I was like, "Hey, I would love to have you support and just understand what I need to do from a legal standpoint." And I grabbed coffee with him, just an hour, and then he offered to do pro bono consulting for me. Oh. And that's how I decided to build a public benefit corporation. There's a C corporation, which is better to raise funds when you are looking to be VC backed at some point. And yeah, and so that was like super helpful because I gained so much time. Yeah, I didn't need to like go to Google or LinkedIn and talk to a bunch of attorneys not knowing who would be a good fit. Yeah.
No, I do. Like asking help is main key thing. I'm an early stage founder as well. Like initially, like, oh, I don't need anything. I don't. But there are people that who wants to help you for
Yeah.
because they're good.
Yeah.
Uh, they want to just like connect people, help whatever they can, solve their. And I like genuine people. And if someone comes to me, like I do like that, like if someone asks me, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Like, I'll definitely do if I can do it. If not, like I can point to someone, like ask them, like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Like introduce like them, and um, but I think like asking for help, like recognizing that you need help,
Yeah.
and the more you do it quickly, it would be done quickly. Like it's like easy. there's nothing wrong in asking help. That's what I felt like at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And I think to your point of asking for help, you also have to be precise in the kind of help you need. And that's also something I really recommend. And I talk a lot regarding networking is be clear on what you ask for. Just be like, hey, can you help me with my business? It's too wide. Like people are not gonna know. But saying like I'm looking to talk to someone that is in that industry with that role.
Yeah.
Can you do an introduction for me? That's just more helpful. And for people that don't have an immediate answer, then they can just like think about it and then come back to you later.
My role of like when going to customers or like that, that's like I figured out my own formula. Like I give my intro, then I ask, I think this might be useful, but I'm looking for feedback. So then I ask, what is the biggest issue you have? That's where I have the connection because like I make sure I tap into that. Um, in networking events, like your strategy differs, but I think like it's more understanding what you need, like being precise, like, yeah, hey, I need fundraising help. Can you do that? If not, also, it's okay. Like, nothing wrong or anything good. Like, I'm looking for this. And future, like, if you need anything, let me know. And
No, like hard.
so that's what, like, that's my approach, I would say. Oh, going to your strengths and advantages. Oh, yes, sales. Sales and marketing. Uh, people network like various reasons, like want to find customers, to find a team, fundraise. Um, tell me a story like where you went with a motive and you got that. I think that we covered in the how you had the pro bono.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to give another example.
Yeah.
I think I've it's hard to choose because I meet so many different people. Um, I think what is really useful for me when I book a networking event is I don't have any specific uh thing in mind, if that makes sense. Like I'm really exploring and I'm like open minded. So for example, I went to a Notion event that was hosted in Fabric to third space I'm part of. And I was like, I don't know Notion. I don't know how to use it. I just wanted to find someone that could help me figure that tool out. And they had like a stand-up meeting at the beginning where we had to pick a mission that we were working on during the day, and then we convene at the end of the day to make progress. And at the time, I was still working on launching my newsletter, so I said, okay, I wanna work on launching my newsletter. And during the roundtable that we did, there was this older woman that just moved recently from Spain to the US, and she has a newsletter that's very successful in Spain. And she came to me and she was like, "Hey, I'm willing to help you. Like, let me show you how I'm structuring my newsletter." And that was just so helpful. And it was like 30 minutes. We had a great connection. She's a close friend, and she really helped me to think about how I wanted to structure my newsletter, the type of content I wanted to put in, the the main topics I was going to discuss on, having the structure, and that just saved me so much time. Like, because I've been struggling to write that newsletter for like weeks before that event, and then just you know brainstorming with myself, like looking on Google, so on, and then in just like a single conversation of 30 minutes, because she had the experience and she was willing to help me. It was just like I had that structure just done. So the power of the network is um, you're so crazy.
I agree with you. Like, there is one story like, I did not know about Notion templates, like how can you meet fish tag.
Yeah.
That's like looking good, but at the same time, like I was not working much on graphic designers or stuff like that. So like Notion has some templates, and like I use AI to make my own like pitch deck, like logos and all that to create like my pitch deck. And this was done like through the last podcast interview. She was like, "Hey, I know this." That happened. Like I met that person just on coming out of networking event. I was like tying my shoelace and like okay, this is the last person who's going to meet, I think, see? And that's the story. Yeah.
Family.
Let's say you go to a networking event, but how do you make a good first impression and how do you make sure you're getting fruitful, like what you want to have? Like,
Yeah. So I think that when you come to a networking event, you have to stay open because you never know who you're gonna meet and you never know where the conversation is gonna go. So I think being like you're an exploring mindset, I think open-minded and not have like a specific um goal in mind is definitely my number one advice. You know, then I would prepare a pitch about like a 60-second elevator pitch about who I am, why I'm here, achievements I'm proud of,
yeah,
and one request. So it can sound a little bit contradictory with what I just said, but it just helps to guide the conversation to have that because when you go to networking events, you meet so many people. It's important to have that 60-second pitch about who you are and yeah, all your achievements and what you're proud of because gonna give that's gonna show you value immediately to people you're talking to, and then they're gonna be hooked and they're gonna be more willing to talk to you. And then having like saying like I'm coming to this event because I wanna get feedback on my product or I wanna get a better understanding of this industry, for example. Having a specific request is very helpful, but then it's important to stay open-minded because you don't know where the conversation is going to go. And connecting on personal matters is always something I also recommend because people are more likely to remember you for the disconnection they had about like a fun story that you told them or a recommendation of a new restaurant that open or your next holidays. Yeah. Rather than, oh, this is a job I do and this is what I am for. So that's like a good starting point, but then be ready to open the conversation to go wherever.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Like, the more personal you get, I think it's also an art. Like,
Yeah.
to get personal in the first 60 seconds. Um, my my technique is like if some group is like talking something personal, I will ask like, "Hey, what you guys talking about?" And like if it's football, they'll be like, "Oh, this is this. What do you think of like this game?" Or who do you support? And that's where I take, and then later I'll ask like what they do to ask them.
Yeah. Also, when you see a group of of people just like introducing yourself and you're just like bumping into that group and be like, hi, my name is. And then in all networking events, people will like open the circle for you and let you in. And sometimes it happens that it doesn't work that way and you're just interrupting your conversation. It's okay. And then you just like move to the next group or to the next person.